What's up everybody? In this video I'm going to show you and talk about the cheapest 5G phone you could find on Amazon. This is fully unlocked. This is a phone that you could probably use anywhere in the world where it has a GSM 5G network. Let's go ahead and take a look. So the phone that I'm talking about is the Xiaomi Redmi Note 9T. Now, if you're in the US, you're probably not going to know much about Xiaomi or Redmi. Those phone brands are international phones from Asia. And typically, the Xiaomi phones are only found outside the US. And they've been around. You could buy Xiaomi phones on Amazon for a while now. They offer really good unlocked dual SIM phones. And they always come in at a pretty good price compared to the specs. But the reason that this phone is so special is that this is the cheapest phone, 5G phone you can find on Amazon that you could buy in the US brand new. And this phone, you can get it as of the recording of this video is around 219 bucks. Now that's far cheaper than anything else I've seen out there that's not on prepaid, or it's not brand new. Coming from like a Google Pixel 4a 5G is 500 bucks. The cheapest Samsung phone that you could probably get is around 280 bucks, but it's only available on T-Mobile. Motorola has phones. There's like 3 phones that you can get for under $50, but you have to get it from Metro by PCS here in the United States. Metro by T-Mobile, I mean. And you have to use their service for 6 months. So this phone stands out to me because it's unlocked and you can get it brand new from Amazon, readily available in the US, and you can get it for 219 bucks. The cheapest by far that I've seen so far, being brand new, being fully unlocked, being on Amazon. So it makes this phone really, really special. So let's go over it and see if it's something that you would wanna take advantage of. So the overall phone size is, the height is 6.3 inches, width is 3.04 inches, and thickness is 0.36 inches. So it's it's kind of smaller than most of the 6.5 inch phones that are around this, the height wise at least. The weight, it's exactly right around approximately 7 ounces. So it's not too heavy. It feels just right. Build quality is at this price point, you're not going to find anything glass or premium. This is going to be an all plastic device, plastic build, plastic frame, plastic back, all plastic. But at this price point, it's fine, especially if you're going to slap a case on it like I always do. It shouldn't be a problem. And if you drop it, it's not going to shatter, since it doesn't have glass on it, like other premium flagship phones that are $1,000. Now, one of the good things about being a unlocked international phone is that it usually has dual SIM capability. So you could have 2 different SIM cards, 2 different phone numbers, 2 different data plans. And also, it's fully unlocked. So that's a good thing about these Xiaomi phones and these international phones, is that they should work on any GSM network. It's kind of hit or miss when it comes to Verizon or Sprint now that it's part of T-Mobile. So it's going to work on 2/3 of the major networks here in the US, and pretty much anywhere where in the world it's going to work. So that's one big positive of this phone. And it's 5G. So that's like the big thing that stands out to me, is that you got a cheap dual SIM international phone readily available. You can order on Amazon and get it right away. You don't have to order it from one of those overseas sites and wait weeks and weeks and even months to get your cheaper device. So this is very good that it's available on Amazon. For the display, you're getting a 6.5 inch display, an IPS LCD, and it has 84% screen to body ratio. The resolution is pretty good. At this price point for a 5G phone, fully unlocked dual SIM, you're getting a 1080p display. So the PPI breaks down to 395 PPI. So anything close to 400 PPI is really good in my book. You'll be very pleased with this screen. The step below these type of screens are like 270, a 720 display, 270 PPI. You can find that on really cheap phones, such as the a lot of Samsungs out there that cost even more than this. You got Gorilla Glass 5, so you got nice strong glass for the protection. For the software, Xiaomi usually has, doesn't have stock Android feeling. It typically sometimes has its own skin on top. But you could easily fix that with, a launcher, like a Nova launcher or something like that. But it's gonna run all your apps on there. It's gonna run all the typical Android apps that you can download from the store, so that's not a problem. Storage on this device is pretty good, okay. It's 64 gigs. That's kind of on the low end of nowadays. I think now the normal internal storage should be at 128 gigs, but I think for most people, including myself, 64 gigs is still pretty good, especially since this phone has micro SD card slot, which a lot of phones are not offering now, the more expensive ones. So this one, you can expand the storage for starting $10, no problem. The RAM on this phone is 4 gigs, which is, it's still good. In my book, 4 gigs is still gonna be good for all the apps that you're gonna run on this, as long as it's not heavy video editing or heavy gaming, heavy intensive gaming. You probably stutter here and there, but I think for most people, and especially at this price point, it should be pretty good. The chipset is running a MediaTek processor. That's one other reason why this phone is so low price. MediaTek is not very well known to be in flagship phones or in mid-tier phones. Those are reserved usually for Qualcomm Snapdragon processors. The MediaTeks are lower end chips, but it makes the phones cheaper, at a cheaper price point, I mean. And I think for most people, the MediaTek processor in this phone, it's the MediaTek MT6853. You don't really have to worry about the naming of this one. It's gonna work fine. You should have, for most people, 99% of people, you won't notice the performance and how either slow or fast it is. It will be just fine. You'll be able to run pretty much any app, typical apps that people use: YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, listening to Spotify, listening to podcasts, GPS maps, Google Maps, anything like that. You'll be perfectly fine with the processor and the RAM on this phone. For the camera on this device, you got a triple shooter in the back: 48 megapixel main shooter, 2 megapixel macro, 2 megapixel depth camera. So the camera setup is nothing special. It's missing that typical ultra wide camera that's found on most phones nowadays, but for this price point, I don't think it's such a big deal. I don't think it's such a downgrade, especially since the video on this phone is 4K, so that's pretty good, especially at this price point. It's not going to be a flagship camera. It's not going to be the best camera. You won't take the best videos or the best pictures, but if you're in the right settings or you're outside, you'll be more than you'll be happy. You'll be more than pleased with the results. But by no means is this going to be for people that are really into photography or really into videography. But it'll satisfy for most people, including myself. The selfie on this phone is a 13 megapixel shooter on the front, and it shoots video at 1080p. Pretty standard stuff, especially for this price point. And this phone also has the headphone jack. Another good thing about this price point is you're not getting headphone jacks on the more expensive phones. So you get that little bonus. You can still connect your headphones, your mic, it's connected to your car via aux cord to listen to music, that type of thing. You'll be good to go with this phone. So another bonus option. This phone has USB Type-C, so that's a pretty standard port. But you should be surprised. There's some phones here and there that still have a micro SD or a micro USB for charging. So it's good to see you got all the essential newer contemporary features on this phone. And for unlocking and security, you've got a side-mounted fingerprint reader, which will do the job perfectly fine. It's nothing fancy. It's nothing like under the display reader or face unlock or anything like that. You got a very reliable side-mounted fingerprint reader. Next, you got your Bluetooth. You got Bluetooth 5.1, which is gonna be how you're going to connect your wearables, like your smartwatch, your smart band, your wireless headphones, your speakers. It'll work just fine. More than enough, more than capable. And for it says it has NFC as well. I'm not 200% sure, but it might not work in the US. You gotta have to take a look for yourself. And that's typically for Google payments, payments with your phone. But the one thing that really stands out to me is the battery life. More and more phones are getting very, very powerful batteries, and this phone is no exception. You got a 5,000 milliamp battery. With the lower end processor, this should last you all day. And it's very impressive because at this price point of $219, it has a bigger battery than the Galaxy S21, which only had like 4,000 milliamps, something like that. So that 5,000 milliamp will really help you way, way, way into the night, using all your games and taking video and everything else you throw at this phone. That's a good sized battery. Anything below that shouldn't be enough for a 5G phone. Also, you get fast charging on this phone, and you get fast charging at 18 watts, so it should charge 33% in 30 minutes, which is not too bad. So in conclusion, I think this is like the best 5G phone deal that you could possibly find on Amazon if you're thinking about pure price, and it doesn't sacrifice too much. You have an unlocked phone, unlocked 5G, you get dual SIM cards, you got the big old battery, you got fast charging, you got the side-mounted fingerprint reader, Bluetooth 5.1, 4K video camera. The only place I could kind of see it kind of slacking a little bit, and it doesn't make too much of a difference, is the processor chip and the internal storage of 64 gigs. And the RAM is at 4 gigs. But like I said, most people won't notice the difference between this and more RAM or more storage, because you could even put the SD card in there. You could easily, if you don't like the Android 10 MIUI skin on top, you could always put a launcher on it and it'll hide it for you. And this phone probably won't get any updates. That's one thing to remember. But other than that, this is a solid phone. And when I saw this phone on Amazon, I was happily surprised to find all the specs on these. Typically, this phone you would have to order from one of those third-party international websites. If you're in the US and you wanted to order these international unlocked phones, it would take you weeks to get them, and it wasn't even worth it. But once I saw it on Amazon, that was impressive. So if you're in the market for a cheap 5G phone, the cheapest 5G phone with impressive specs, this one you should pick up. It's the Xiaomi Redmi Note 9T at $220 on Amazon. See you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Peace.